The Celtic Forever podcast. Brilliant. It's the joy of my life.
The Celtic Forever podcast.
Hello again and a warm welcome to the Celtic Forever podcast. I'm Xander and I'm here with John to go through everything Celtic related, so the gossip, news, rumours. We'll have a look back in the Scottish Cup final also, unfortunately, we'll do that as well. But first of all, I want to mention the competition at the start of the podcast because it's a new competition for next season, folks. And all we want you to do is enter into the comment section your entry for the new competition, which is more or less a massive league format. We're looking for 30 people to enter this. So get your comments in. Just type in competition entry. That'll get you into the competition. Basically, it's a league of 30. 3 points for every correct score that you guess in the Celtic games only. So every Celtic game will ask you for your predicted score. If you get it right, you get 3 points, and whoever's got the most points at the end of the season is the winner to win the fantastic prize of Celtic related gifts, basically Celtic football, Celtic t-shirt, Celtic pen, Celtic lighter, Celtic key rings, Celtic wall mounted plaques, Celtic framed prints, a whole load of goodies in there, folks. Just a fantastic prize. So get entering into the competition, folks. We're looking for 30. We've got 10 so far. I think it is 10 or 12, and we need another 18. So get entering, folks. And once you have entered, that's you registered. 13 is actually we've got, John. We've got 13 now. But get entering, folks. That's you registered. That's you accepted. And we're looking for 30. The cut-off date is once we've reached 30, obviously. And the start date for this is the first game of next season, folks. So good luck with that, everybody. And remember, like, share, and subscribe button as well. Right, take a breath, Xander. Let's say hello to John. How are you, John?
I'm all right, Xander. How's yourself?
Aye, okay. It was a sort of dull, horrible, dismal end to the season with the Scottish Cup final, wasn't it? But we won't get into that, John. We won't get into the display, the reaction from certain fans of other clubs, John, as well. Absolutely pathetic. It really is. We're a club, John. We're a club that's just totally dominant in Scotland. 23 trophies in 15 years. Total domination in Scotland. We're still dominant. We've just came off the back of winning a double, and then you've got supporters from, shall we say, from other clubs, mainly in Glasgow, celebrating another club not winning a treble. It's absolutely pathetic, John.
Aye, it's poor. It is poor, but you've got to expect that, you know. It's a team that wins absolutely nothing. The only jollies that these teams get, and we know the team that we're talking about, we'll just say it, Sefco and their fans. The only jollies that they get is Celtic losing games. That says it all, doesn't it? I mean, if that's the life of a football fan, is celebrating another team no winning a cup or getting beat. Happy days for them, eh? Brilliant.
Yeah, then we'll get into more of that in the comments, John, a wee bit later, because there was a lot of comments in the Scottish Cup video that I put on the interview with Brendan. There are a lot of unhappy Celtic support as well, so you've got to remember, John, you can understand why, but you've also got to take a step back and look at the bigger picture, haven't you? The total domination, the success. Okay, we're all upset. We're not happy about not winning a treble, but, this goes back to the original question that was asked to Brendan Rodgers. Are the Celtic supporters are they no spoil? It wasn't spoiled, was it? Do they take things for granted? Do the Celtic supporters take things for granted? Brendan said yes, didn't he, to that, and we weren't happy with that because we don't take anything for granted, John. You and I, and 98% of the Celtic supporters don't take anything for granted. But the reaction to not winning the Scottish Cup was a wee eye opener for me, John.
Definitely, aye. But look, we don't take anything for granted, and if you support any team and take something for granted, then you're deluding yourself. Doesn't matter if you're a Barcelona fan, I don't know, Man City or whatever, Liverpool. No fans take anything for granted in reality, because at the end of the day, it's 11 men against 11. If a team's well drilled and well organised, they're capable of taking something from the game. If they're well coached, they're capable of taking anything off any team if they're well coached. And that's what it comes down to, isn't it? A team that's well coached. On the day, Aberdeen were well drilled. Obviously, they've been practising on that routine since Celtic beat them 5-1 at Pittodrie a couple of weeks previous to that. They've been working on that cup final, how to get something at that cup final, how to play for penalties, and they got it and they won it, and fair play to them.
Yeah, of course they did, John, and it's the first trophy in 20 years, so you can't take it away from them. Congratulations to Aberdeen, John, but it did sort of sting, and it made it a sort of lower feel to the end of the season, didn't it? But the season's gone now, John. We come out at the other end of the season with a league and cup double. Absolutely fantastic, you know. Think back to previous seasons, you was a bit in your hand off for that, John. And then knockout football as well, John, in the Champions League. As the title says there at the bottom, John, just overall an absolutely fantastic, yet another fantastic season for Celtic Football Club.
It is. It's a brilliant season. For any club to win a double, you've got to be happy with that. You've got to take that and run. You've won the league. The most important thing in the domestic season is winning the league. That's what it all comes down to. That's where your success mostly comes from, is winning your leagues. You know, because you get money for that. Going into the Champions League and all that stuff helps you buy better players, all that stuff, you know. And Celtic's done it. They've done what they had to do, win the league. Obviously, we won the League Cup as well. That's just a wee kind of bonus, really, in my opinion. It always has been a wee bonus. But it only works as part of a treble, the League Cup, for me. But it is a wee bonus as well. We've got a double to celebrate. And overall, a very good season for Celtic. Xander, if you're a Celtic fan and you're complaining about it, give yourself a reality check.
Yeah, I know, sort of got you there, said there, John, you broke up a wee bit. But yeah, I know what you're saying. Reality checks are needed here because, you know, we always refer back to the 90s, and we do it for a reason, John. We refer back to that time because, you know, I remember back in 94 winning the Scottish Cup, and it was like, I felt though we'd won the World Cup, you know. So think back to those times, John, and then you accept these doubles, you know. You actually celebrate them, John, winning these league and cup doubles. You know, you don't take anything for granted, like we've already said. Right, John. And just another wee thing before we move on to the news, gossip, and rumours, John. And by the way, I can't really speak properly today because I've just been out the dentist, folks. So apologies for that. St Johnstone have won as many trophies as Rangers in the last 13 years. So if any of them are listening, just bear that in mind. Right, John. Let's get into it then. Celtic gossip, rumours, any news, anything like that, John? There's not much happening since the season ended on Saturday, John. It's all been very quiet at Celtic. But Jeremy Frimpong is at Liverpool just now, John, for signing talks. And if he does indeed sign that over the next few days, Celtic are gaining 5.5 million. What a start to the new season that would be, John. £5.5 million for absolutely nothing.
Aye. Look, that helps paying players' wages and all that stuff. So it's always a bonus when these things come up. You know, we've sold a player, we get a sell-on fee. I look happy with that. I mean, I was expecting more than that, to be honest with you. Obviously, Jeremy Frimpong's went for less money than what we expected. So, but you can't complain, can you? I mean, at least maybe bring us in another player, or just go towards paying players' wages, and so it's all good news.
Yeah, that's it, John. So good. So that's that, John. Then, but I mean, there was a few players mentioned here today regarding leaving Celtic permanently, John. And I thought most of these players had already left. I've run through them anyway. Lewis Palmer, I thought he was away permanently, John, but no, he's only away on loan. Lagerbielke, he's also only on loan. I knew Welsh was only on loan, so he's returned as well. Kwon and Tillio, John. But those five, it looks as though Celtic are wanting to sell permanently in the summer. I don't think there's any great miss with any of the boys there, John. Palmer, Lagerbielke, Welsh, Tillio and Kwan, although we never really got a good look at Lagerbielke and Tillio.
I think Telio is one that Brendan might want to look at again after his loan spell. See what happens. He comes with a good reputation, that boy. So Brendan might want to have a look at him, see how things have progressed with him. Lagerbielke and all the other ones, I don't think there's a place at Celtic for them, Xander.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, John, that's why they were sent out on loan in the first place, isn't it? You know, but also thought these guys are going to be off ski permanently in the summer. But we've got all the summer to go through all this sort of stuff, John. So we'll move on. And Celtic are also looking for a centre half as well, aren't they? I mean, the reaction to Big Scales playing for Celtic, John, I think is quite bad. You know, some of the reaction, not all of it. A lot of the Celtic supporters love Big Liam. But, you know, a lot of the Celtic supporters, you know, blame him for defeats, blame him for, you know, poor performances. I just think he's a brilliant big defender. But Celtic are looking at centre-backs, John. Milosevic, from Red Star Belgrade, John, €10 million, €10 million, bid Celtic are ready to put in for the 6'4" centre-back Milosevic from Red Star Belgrade. I suppose any backup's decent, John. We need backup in there at all times. Just look at what happened in the Scottish Cup final. A few injuries there didn't help us, did it? But centre-backs, John, what do you think? Yeah, I think Big Liam Scales and Big Carter Vickers are doing a tremendous job in there. But we do always need backup as well.
€10 million is a very expensive backup, though, isn't it? But I think Celtic spending that kind of money on a defender, they'd be looking to get him in as a permanent centre-back, as a first-team starter, not backup. Although I'm in the same boat as you, I'm happy with Liam Scales and Carter Vickers, always have been. I know, like he says, Big Liam, when he makes a mistake in a game, it's normally a costly mistake in it that costs us the game or something. But overall, generally speaking, 99% of his game is absolutely spot on. So, no, I've always been happy with Liam Scales, like yourself. I don't think I've seen Celtic fans in comments sections leaving comments about Liam Scales, but totally unjustified in my opinion.
100% unjustified, John. I think he's a brilliant big defender. You know, he came in when Big Trusty got dropped and he hardly put a foot wrong, John. You know, you can't just go blaming certain players because we lose the Scottish Cup, John. It was a team effort, wasn't it? So, no, Big Scales, he's absolutely solid, brilliant big defender. But, you know, Milosevic, John, this is a Sky Sports report on this guy from Red Star Belgrade, John, 6'4" defender. So we don't know what's going to happen with players that are already at Celtic this summer. But that's just one that was linked today, John. I just thought I would bring that one up. Other Celtic news, John, there's not really much happening. Obviously, the Celtic players that are staying finished for the season, they'll take in a wee break, John. I think there's an international break coming up as well, so maybe some of them will have to play in international football next week. But, John, in general, that's the season finished. It was a long season, wasn't it, John? It was a hard slog, very difficult. But as I say, to come out of it with 2 trophies and knockout football in the Champions League, John, I'm sort of glad it's over as well, John. It was a long, difficult season, wasn't it? You know, going to Ibrox, getting the players pelted with bottles and lighters and vapes, stuff like that, John. I'm just glad to see the back of it and we come out of it hitting the bar with the treble, John, just hitting the bar, very close, getting knocked out in penalties, but still coming out of it with a double. Tremendous.
It is tremendous, I mean, literally hit the bar with that shot from Jeffrey Sloop in the Scottish Cup final. What a strike that would have been if it hit the back of the net. It just scalps the bar. I know. So we literally hit the bar.
Yeah, we hit the bar. And we're going to go through that game, John. I know a lot of people won't want to listen to it, but that's just the way it is. We need to talk about it. We've let the dust settle for a few days now, John, and that's why we've came on today. A more sort of a balanced view on things, if you like. But, you know, there is a few things that may not sound balanced, but we'll get into that later on. Right, John, that's the Celtic gossip and rumours just now. Unless you have anything else to add?
No, just this Kieran Tierney thing. I still no sign of him. I thought he'd have been right in the door straight away. Obviously,
Yeah, well, I'm glad you brought that up, John, actually, because you're doing a Roseanne. You're reminding me of stuff. Kieran Tierney is officially going to become a Celtic player at the start of July, John. So that's why he's not been announced or anything like that. The wee man, he'll be announced at the start of July. He'll be on the pre-season, no problem at all. So that's why, John, you've not heard anything as regards to that. It's July for the wee man. Another 4 weeks or so before Kieran is officially a Celtic player. All right, John, just a wee quick one on the League Cup for next season. The draw's been done for that. We obviously like to do the full Scottish game, John. We've been covering the full Scottish game all season, and we're not going to stop, John. So let's continue with the League Cup draw, and we'll touch on the SPL clubs, John. The teams that are in the SPL, the Premier League, right? We'll start with Dundee, who are safe. You know, they stayed up. So in their group, they've got Airdrie, Alloa, Montrose, and Bonnyrigg Rose. That's Group C. And then Hearts, in their group, they have Neil Lennon's Dunfermline, Hamilton Accies, Dumbarton, and Stirling Albion. That's Group E. And then for St Mirren, Group D, they have Ayr United, Scott Brown's Ayr United, Arbroath, Annan, and Forfar Athletic. And then for Motherwell, John, they're in Group G. They have Morton, Stenhousemuir, Peterhead, and Clyde. And last of all, we have Kilmarnock, who are in Group H. They're in there with Premier League Livingston, John, who won the other night, didn't they? Livingston won 4-2 the other night to put Ross County into the Championship. So they have Livingston, Kelty Hearts, East Fife, and Barora, John. So that's Group H for Kilmarnock. Would you anything stand out there for you, John, in the draw?
obviously the last group. I watched the draw earlier as it was happening, and was it Kilmarnock, Livingston, Kelty Hearts, East Fife, Brora Sefco.
Brora Sefco, yeah, that's right. That's their name, isn't it? Brora, isn't it? Brora Rangers. I've just got it jotted down as Brora here. Yeah, Killeen, Livingston, John. So one of them are going out, I suppose.
Aye. I don't know if is it not the top two that get through? I'm not actually sure, to be honest with you, but I thought it was the top two that went through. So it could be the top two out of that group. Could be the Premier League teams. I did, by the way. I know just to take it away for the League Cup. I do watch that when it's on. By the way, I quite like it. I like the early stages, the group stages. I enjoy watching it because there's absolutely nothing else to watch. I do enjoy it. But well done to Livingston getting through against Ross County the other night. I wanted Ross County through, to be honest with you, because obviously I don't like that pitch at Livingston. It's the worst pitch in Scotland. I know it's back in the Premier League. It's a tie between them and Kilmarnock, isn't it? What's the worst pitch in Scotland? I think it's Livingston, personally.
Yeah, so, I know that's another plastic pitch we need to contend with. We have had a few poor results up at Livingston, haven't we? Celtic gone up there over the last few years. But no, that's them. They're up, John. And that park will have to be ripped up. Not next season, but the season after next, John. So they've got one more year with that plastic pitch, John. Then it has to be grass if they're in the Premier League. Right, okay, that's it then, John. That's the League Cup. That's the draw covered as well. Just a wee quick mention on our competition between us, John, the predictor. Well done to you, John. You're the champion. Well deserved, John. You won it fair and square. 4 results ahead of me. Although there's another 2 still to go. We've still got the Champions League final, and we've still got tonight's game with Chelsea against Real Betis in the Conference Cup, John. We've still got those 2 to go, but I can't catch you. Unfortunately, that's it. It's done. You're the champion. Well done. Another trophy for you. That's us 1 each overall. I won last season, you won this season, John, and we're looking forward to the new competition next season. Remember, folks, get your entries into the comments there for the big league table, the big prize competition. Get your entries in. Just type in competition entry, and that will be you entered, and then we'll let everybody know when we've had the 30. And good luck to everybody with that. All right, John, let's move on then. Let's get into this Scottish Cup final. We need to do it, John, I'm afraid. We've not had our word on it yet. The day was dull. The day started dull. It was wet, miserable. It was the atmosphere was good. Obviously, I think the Aberdeen fans brought a superb atmosphere to the stadium at Hampden, John. They sung their hearts out, the Aberdeen players, and the players played their hearts out as well, John. So, as you said earlier on, fair play to them.
Aye, it was just watching a defence against an attack for 90 minutes, basically.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it was like to me. It was frustrating. Like that's what Aberdeen set out today. That was their tactics. Just sit in, don't leave your half, just defend for 90 minutes. Well, 120 minutes. And they came into it for a wee spell, I think, after they get their goal. But other than that, it was just backs against the wall for them. Just defend. Don't give Celtic any width. I just think overall it was a poor performance from Celtic as well, Xander. There was no imagination there. No balls over the top of that defence or anything like that. It was just pass it left, pass it right, keep doing it, try and open up gaps in the defence. Aberdeen had every gap plugged for 120 minutes. There was no way through for Celtic. But lack of invention, I think, from Celtic as well.
Yeah, I don't think we deserved to win the cup. It's a different story if Dyson scores his 1-on-1 at 1-0 to make it 2-0, John. Obviously, it's a different story, but it's not if buts and maybes. We can't think about things like that, John. It's gone. The cup's gone. It's over at Aberdeen for a season, John. We give them a wee loan of it, didn't we, for one season, John? But I think, and I could be wrong here, right? But I think from the first minute, really, we looked tired, John. It wasn't fast enough. There wasn't enough pace. The shutting down had disappeared as well. The closing down, we've been famous for it for seasons, John. This quick closing down, 2 and 3 around an Aberdeen player at a time. That sort of disappeared as well, John. But I think it was just one game too many this season for us.
I don't know. It's hard to say, but the problem was at the final. I'm just putting it down to Aberdeen, well drilled, and no giving Celtic an inch on the flanks. There was a couple of occasions we got a couple of crosses in, but to no avail. I think Celtic needed to maybe sit back a wee bit and invite them out and then hit them with a long ball, something like that. Change the tactics up, switch it up a wee bit. But there was nothing like that. It was the same for 120 minutes for Celtic. Pass it left, pass it right. And nothing came of it all through the game. A couple of long shots. I think we hit the post and the bar, that was it. And
yeah,
Dyson.
that's it. Yeah, he's 1-1. Yeah, I think, the extra time, John, that was very disappointing for me. I know the players had put a lot of energy into the game, but we showed nothing in that extra half an hour, to be honest with you. But let's have a wee word on some of the players then, John. Obviously, the players have been getting a lot of stick, from supporters. I don't want to be too harsh on the players. These things can happen in a one-off game. We did say in the preview that every player had to turn up. We couldn't take it for granted. It's Aberdeen. There's 2 teams in the final. We did say that, obviously, John. There's 2 teams wanting to win this cup. And it looked to me like a case of the Celtic players just had to turn up because of what happened at Pittodrie a few weeks ago, John, beating them 5-1 with a B team, remember? And I think that was maybe in the players' minds. It was a case of turning up, winning the cup, and we move on, John. But we certainly didn't think that way, did we?
No chance. Never thought that. I thought Celtic would have won the cup, mind you. I did say Celtic could have, if they show up, they could win it 3-0. But obviously, they never showed up. No the way we wanted them to show up.
No, they didn't show up, John. And as I say, it's a different story. If Dyson Berry's at 1-1, he's been scoring their goals all season long, John. B. Dyson made that, and sort of the biggest chance of the season, if you like. He hits it right at the goalkeeper, didn't he? Anyway, when you think back it, it sort of annoys you again, doesn't it? But no, John, it's gone, as we say. But let's have a wee word on some individual players then, John. Because we're allowed to do it, we've just lost the Scottish Cup. We can talk about individual players. And the one I want to start with, and you know who it's going to be, John. I've been talking about this guy all season. We think he maybe needs a rest or something. He maybe needs a wee bit of competition out that side. As the right winger, Nicholas Kuhn, John, for me, he didn't turn up at all in the game, John. I think James Forrest should have started this one.
Well, I predicted the lineup exactly correct, apart from Nicholas Kuhn, because I just could not see him starting that with the form James Forrest was in.
Mm-hmm.
And lo and behold, I get the starting lineup bang on, apart from the one man that I think could have changed the game for Celtic, James Forrest. Sadly, he never started, and I think that's to Celtic's detriment, to be honest with you. I just think that was a bad move on Brendan's part. The guy that's on form, the guy that the Celtic fans love right now, doesn't he start? I think that was a bad move.
Yeah, and it's tough to bring him on with 20 minutes to go, John. It's not that you don't get the same player when you bring him on in the 70th minute, John. It's not the same. He should have started this one. And then he gets injured as well, didn't he? Into the bargain, if you like, another injury picked up for Celtic. And talking about injuries, John, we had not Dyson, Rio, sorry, John, obviously out injured in this one as well. That definitely came back to bite us, him being injured by Papagayi in the game at Pittodrie just a couple of weeks ago, John. And Bernardo started this one. Again, Bernardo, I don't know if it's lack of game time or what, John, but he just looked lacklustre to me also.
He was the poorest player on the park for Celtic anyway. Aberdeen didn't have a poor player on the park. They did their job, and they did it probably exactly the way the manager wanted them to do it. But Paulo Bernardo, for Celtic, the poorest player on the park by a country mile. Him and Nicholas Kuhn, to be honest. I'm not having a go at them. They're good players. The both of them are good players. Nicholas Kuhn has been off form for weeks and weeks, and that's why it's bewildering to me why he started the final. And Bernardo, he's a good player, Paulo, but he ain't no real Hatate, and we badly missed him, I think.
100% agree, John. We did warn about this, you know, that Rio been missing from this. It was a red flag for us. You know, we've mentioned it 17 times already. Don't take it for granted, but with Rio Hatate missing from this one, John, I was worried. I was genuinely worried, and my worries came back to bite us, John. Listen to us two in the preview of the Scottish Cup final, John. There was no, you know, although we did say Celtic were going to win and a predictor, there was no overconfidence by us two. If anything, we were a bit nervous about this one, and it came back to be the case, John. The nerves were correct. Arnie Engels, John, another one who's getting a rough time of it in the comment sections all over the place, not just on our channel, but on other pages and channels as well, John. Arnie Engels, a lot of people on the comment sections wanting him out of the club, John. I think that's a bit harsh. He's only been here for a season, Arnie, and he is a winner, John. He is a league winner and a cup winner, John. But again, just part of a team that never really turned up.
Aye, I'm not the biggest fan of Arnie Engels. I've said this all season, and I'm not just saying that now. I've said it all season. I'm not the biggest fan of him. I've said it the whole season, and he might come good next season. I've said that as well, and let's hope he does come good next season. That's all I can say about Engels. I know why the podcast had a headline a couple of weeks ago. Get over it, he's quality. That was their headline. Get over it, he's quality. And these guys have never been to a game in their life. They sit and do podcasts in the studio and put on half-time bulletins and all that. Guys have never been to a game. So I don't think that they're entitled to have opinions like that. I don't go to games now, but I used to.
Yeah, that's it. I still go to a few games, John, as you know, and take my grandson along whenever I can. But no, John, it's we're well within our rights to have our opinion also, John. I remember you talking about that, you know, get over it. You know, Arnie Engels needs to give himself a shake, especially, you know, the money we paid for him. Same with Big Adam Ida, John. The big man needs to give himself a shake. Although Big Ida, you know, he is a very decent player for us, John. He scores a lot of goals, important goals as well, Champions League goals, Cup final goals, John. The big man, I don't know if he's if he was missing Rio as well, because also Rio threads the balls through to the forward pinpoint accuracy, John, and we definitely missed that on Saturday there, John. So yeah, the whole team had to give themselves a shake, but no, John, they've got the full summer to give themselves a shake, and a new season is just around the corner, John. So we're looking forward to that. Now, the reaction, John, to Casper Schmeichel, losing the goal in the final. We all weren't happy, of course, but John, the reaction to this goalkeeper palming the ball into his own net, John, was pathetic. Get him sacked, get rid of him, don't want him at the club. This is a world-class goalkeeper who makes one mistake, John, and I think the overreaction to this was quite bad, to be honest with you.
Aye, look, it was just a strange game. 2 own goals in a Scottish Cup final. I don't think I've ever heard the likes in my life, but that shows you how close and intense that game was. Goalkeepers have. I'm trying to think of something to say about Casper because he is such a good goalkeeper. He is world class, like he says. I can't say anything bad about the guy.
Yeah, if anything, John, the problem was on the left wing. The Aberdeen winger should have been closed down quicker. John, he had the freedom in the park there to get his cross in. That's where the problem lay for me. And then the keeper makes his mistake, doesn't he, John? Every goalkeeper makes a mistake. Just so happens that Casper picked the Scottish Cup final to make his, John.
Well, you've got to look at Casper and look at the amount of times he's saved us this season in the Champions League and all that stuff. He's world class. I'm not going to have a go at the keeper for that. Of course, he could have done better with the shot, but he didn't. It ended up in the back of the net. These things happen. It's a mistake from the goalkeeper, and he's only a human being, and everybody's got a mistake in them when they're playing the game. So why have a go at Casper when every other Celtic player on the park, you could easily have a go at any one of them?
Yeah, that's it, John. That's it. Yeah, as what it is. People have opinions, John. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. That's why there is comment sections, John. We have our opinions. Everybody else has their opinions. That's fine. No problem there. But to ask for players to be sacked, John, I think is really over the top. It really is. Even Brendan was getting it in the neck. It's just off the back of winning the double, John, and progressing in Europe as well, John. Clubs in a financially stable place. We're looking at 10 million plus players as well, John. Clubs in a brilliant position. And you've got people wanting Brendan sacked as well.
I've seen that in comments, people wanting Brendan sacked. I think he was a bit tactically naive, to be honest with you, in the Scottish Cup, Sander. I think that left, right, passing stuff, trying to stretch the game. Aberdeen knew Celtic were going to do that, and they were ready for it. They were prepared for it. And there was no plan B by the looks of things for the Scottish Cup final. Maybe Brendan's thinking, if we keep at this, we keep doing it, we stretch the game, we make them tired, we keep the ball, we end up getting gaps opening up in that defence. And it never happened. And that went on for 120 minutes, and it never happened once. Maybe a couple of occasions you had a Nicholas Kuhn free on the right or whatever, but it never happened. There's no point in going on about Brendan. He could have changed it. I think he could have switched it up a wee bit and invited Aberdeen on and sucker punched them with the fast counter attack that we've got. I think that was missing from the game. We never seen it once.
Yeah. That's it, John. And it just actually goes to show as well that how difficult it is to win a treble, John. It is very difficult to win a treble. We went through the phase there where we want a quadruple treble, didn't we, John? An absolutely outstanding achievement for Celtic, John. And Saturday just proved how difficult it actually is.
It's very difficult. It is very, very difficult. And I'm not having a go at Brendan Rodgers, by the way. That was his plan, and he stuck to his plan. The Aberdeen manager, he stuck to his plan. He came out on top. I can't say any more than that, but like you say, it's a quadruple treble. It just shows you how dominant Celtic actually are. And to lose a cup final, it's never a good feeling. But I think we'll go over it eventually when we look back at the seasons, Sander.
Yeah, and we'll do that. Look back on the season very soon because we're back to one a week, folks. I know we've not been doing many more than one a week, maybe two a week sometimes, but we're back to one a week right up until the season starts, folks. Because it's tough to find things to talk about, John. And I will continue to put wee videos and that on Facebook and YouTube. But as regards to the podcast, one a week, right up until the season starts, unless there's any breaking news or anything like that, John will come on and do a special. All right, John, let's have a wee look then at the fixtures then coming up for Celtic, John. I'm sure the Celtic supporters will want to hear what the fixtures are, John. I think we've got Cork over in Ireland on the 8th of July. So that's our first game back, John, is Cork City. And then we have Newcastle United. Sorry, my mouth is really painful. We have Newcastle United on the 19th of July at Celtic Park. A wee glamour friendly there, John. Newcastle United for anybody who wants to nip along the 19th of July. So we're talking with that 5 weeks before we kick a ball again, John. And then there'll be other pre-season friendlies announced very soon as well, John. So what do you think, John? The friendlies, Cork City in Ireland and Newcastle Celtic Park.
It'd be a good game against Newcastle. Cork City, that'd be another good game. Be a big Celtic following at that. I look forward to them, Zander.
Yeah, that's it. It's no long either, John. It's just packed the season away there. That's it, tucked away. Another 2 trophies in the bag, and we're 5 weeks away from the pre-season starting again. So it's one to look forward to, I suppose, because the 5 weeks, John, it will be quite slow. You know what it's like when there's no football. It does drag in. There's not even a Euros or a World Cup this summer either to keep us occupied, John. So we've got the Champions League final on Saturday, I suppose, haven't we? PSG against Inter Milan. That's your only game in the next 5 weeks, folks. Right, John, we'll do some comments then, because this will be interesting, I think. I know there was a lot of Rangers supporters coming onto the comments. I had to delete and block some of them. Some of them weren't too bad. I just let it run. And we got a lot of reactive comments to some of the Rangers supporters' comments, which was quite interesting as well. So, yeah, they've come out their boxes a wee bit, John, because not because Rangers won a trophy, but because Celtic didn't win a trophy. The comments were quite interesting, I thought, John. You can pick and choose where you want to do the comments from, buddy.
Aye, but I might as well do them from the Brendan Rodgers video.
Yeah.
The League Cup starts in the 12th or 13th of July, something like that. So,
yeah. Yes, a wee while on. I was 6 weeks away.
It's a few away, but that's the next football I've got to look forward to, because I quite enjoy the early stages, like I said earlier. Anyway.
Yeah, the time that comes around, John, you're looking for something to watch because it's been 6 weeks since you last saw a game of football. So, yeah, you're looking for that League Cup to start. And some of the games are okay. The Premier League teams are all in the away league tables, aren't they?
Aye. Well, this is it. It is an interesting wee competition. I do enjoy it, especially the smaller games, teams like Arbroath and all that stuff. I enjoy watching that. That's my thing. The Scottish game, I love it.
Yeah,
I don't watch anything else. I don't. You know that. I don't watch Champions League. I don't watch it. Obviously, I watch Celtic in the Champions League. I don't watch the English game. I don't watch German games or French or anything like that. Just Scottish football. That's where my heart is. I think it's brilliant. I don't know why it gets such a hard time. I think it's a cracking place to watch football in Scotland. Some fiery games.
Yeah, that's it, John. And the reason why it gets such a hard time is because there's one team dominant in it. This is because Celtic are dominant. The Scottish football wouldn't be getting this hard time if it was Rangers that are dominant. Remember the tax-free years when they were dominant, John? Tax-free trophies, they were dominant. You never heard any hard time on Scottish football, John. It was loved all over the place. But because it's Celtic that's dominant, John, then that's why the Scottish game gets such a hard press.
You're probably right. I was just thinking that when you were talking there about that, a good song for Rangers in the days, when it would be the Only Fools and Horses theme tune. No income tax, no VAT, no money back, no guarantee, all that stuff.
That's what the Celtic fans should be singing at them when they're when we're playing them at Celtic Park. No income tax, no VAT. That's quite good, actually.
No Scottish Cup, no league.
That's it. Right, John. Brendan missed this video of Brendan Rodgers' interview. I think I put it on directly after the Scottish Cup final, John. So I think, some of these reactions might be a wee bit, over the top, but about the same anyway, buddy.
Right, one club since 1888 said, sick of people rubbishing Brendan and the team. Champions and double winners, and some people are ungrateful. Go back to the 90s. We have no divine right to win any cup. There are two teams in the final. A successful season, Brendan. It was a successful season. It's that's what we were saying as well. It's there's a lot of people no happy with it. Well, I can only imagine they weren't born during the Barron Trophy years.
Yeah, the Barron Trophy years were dreadful, John, and absolutely, a double to me is very successful season. And the Barron years, John, you just think back to them. That was, by the way, what a comment as well. Everything the commenter said there was absolutely bang on. Brendan shouldn't be getting a hard time after winning a double. No divine right to win trebles. Absolutely not, John. That's a bonus. That's something special to win a treble, and everything he said there, the commenter, John, we've already covered. So I totally agree with the commenter, to be honest with you.
I can't disagree.
Yeah,
I'm happy with the season. Obviously, it hurts losing a Scottish Cup final. It's never good losing in a cup final, especially in penalties. I never watched the penalties. You know me, I can't watch Celtic in penalties. I just can't watch it. I've got to turn the telly off. And hopefully somebody will send me a text message shouting yes, but it didn't happen this time. And
I think I sent you a text message right after it, but it wasn't a yes. So,
definitely wasn't,
No, but no, poor Callum, John, serial winner, Callum McGregor. He's the man that missed the penalty. And that gave them all the confidence they needed to go on and score it. In fact, Aberdeen scored every penalty that they took. Because Callum missed the very first one, John. So I felt really sorry for him. Our wee serial winner, wee dynamic midfielder. Had a decent game as well, John, in there. It wasn't his fault that the rest of the players weren't playing round about him. We had a decent game and he misses the penalty, John. So it can happen to anybody, I suppose. The penalties can be missed. But because it was the very first one, John, that gave Aberdeen all the confidence they needed.
Well, this is it. I'm not going to blame Callum McGregor. The boy's a serial winner. He's never lost. I didn't want to say that in the last podcast. Callum McGregor's never lost a cup final, just in case I jinxed it. But it was in my mind and I never said it. And I'm glad I never, because lo and behold, he misses the penalty. But it's no Callum McGregor's a legend. Hard luck, wee man. He'll bounce back next season stronger than ever, Xander. Terrific. Yeah,
that's it. Yep, John, and I think he'll be angry with himself for that, but he shouldn't be, because, as I say, anybody can miss a penalty, John. And I'll tell you something else as well, John, before we move on to the next comment. The Aberdeen players, I know you never saw it, but the Aberdeen players had been practising penalties. Every penalty was hit in the exact same place. Top left, John, top left, well out the goalkeeper's reach. They've definitely been practising. So, as you said earlier, John, at the start of the podcast, fair play to them. They deserved to win it. They did deserve it. They defended well. And, better luck next time, Celtic.
Aye, that's all we can say, isn't it? It's over now. It's done and dusted. I think that the Aberdeen fans over-exuberant with their celebrations after their goals, Ander.
Aye, but I can understand that, John. That's euphoria, John, equalising, bringing themselves back in the cup, because they never ever looked like scoring. That's why they're so euphoric, John. They're spilling onto that part because they thought they were out of that. They thought the cup had gone, and that was their lifeline. And they clung onto that lifeline, John, didn't they? So I can understand, but it's also no very nice to see, is it?
No, another team of serial losers anyway, moving on.
Yeah.
And
zero winners now. No zero winners, but winners now, John. No winners now.
I'm only kidding. Aberdeen, and I'm going to read the next comment. comment out. Well done, Aberdeen, by the way, I'm only kidding.
Yeah.
Andrew says, great season for the Celts. Aberdeen are a great club, and I hope the whole of Aberdeen enjoy this success. Next season's Champions League is the big one, so keep that in mind and give everything when it comes to. Well, exactly. Aberdeen are a great club. They've got a wee bit of history back in the 80s and all that, and they were a good team back then. I remember watching Aberdeen at Celtic Park and that when they were coming to Celtic Park. They were always a brilliant team back then. Obviously, the last 20 years, 25 years have been absolute guff, but they showed up and they won the cup, so well done to them. And he hopes the whole of Aberdeen enjoys the success. But they would have done because they had that open top bus, didn't they?
I'm not sure about the celebrations, John, to be honest with you. That's something I've not watched or saw anything. Normally you see like pictures or whatever, but I've saw absolutely nothing, John. So I'd imagine we'll have had an open top bus through the city. By the way, and that brings us to the Liverpool thing that happened a couple of days ago, John, the open top bus parade, and then the cart incident with the supporters. Absolutely sickening, John. You know, that to actually see that footage was absolutely sickening. That could have been any set of supporters in any city in Britain, John. It could have been up here, but it was Liverpool, John, and it's something that's just turns your stomach when you see something like that.
Well, I've not seen the footage. I've only seen, like, obviously on the news and stuff. They're not going to show footage. I don't want to see something like that, but the incident itself is sickening, like you said. It's I just hope everybody's okay. I mean, so far there hasn't been anybody killed in that, I don't think, which is good news. So it's no good news what happened, but you know what I mean. Just the fact that nobody actually died in that.
Well, John, that is good news because the people that were seriously injured in that are now stable. So it is good news, John. You're right,
Aye.
John. Everybody's okay. And by the way, it's a miracle that nobody died in that, to be honest with you.
Aye, look, I've not seen it, like I says, but I've heard all about it, and aye, it's good news that everybody that was maybe seriously injured is starting to pull through, and it's looking good for them. So that's good news, and hopefully the guy they're going to throw the book at him, and rightly so. And no football fan out celebrating should have to endure something like that.
I've got more serious thoughts on that, John, to be honest with you, more deeper views on that, but that's for another time, John. I'm not going to go into that, but what should happen to this guy, but that's for another day. We'll continue with the comments, John, and I'm sure you're the same.
Absolutely. Oh, I don't know. You can tell me after we hang up here, but
Yeah.
I'm sure I'm pretty much exactly the same. Like I says, it doesn't matter who your club is, what team you support, and you're out celebrating. It should never have to be seeing anything like that.
Yeah, well said, John. Yeah, okay. Just glad everybody's okay. Right, John. And they're at open top bus, John. I didn't see any of it, the Aberdeen thing, but they deserve it. You know, they've waited a long time. Must be a lot of relief up at Aberdeen, John. So good luck to them. As long as they don't win any more trophies next season, because we want a treble next season.
Aye, well, we have to strengthen in certain positions of the park to win a treble next season. It is a hard thing to do, and that's why it's so miraculous that Celtic managed to win quadruple trebles. It's very hard to win any trophy, but Celtic's been immense. So anyway, carrying on with the comments.
Yeah.
Kaiser Soze said, Casper cost us, in my opinion. No, I can't agree with that, Kaiser. I think the whole team cost us, and don't take it away from Aberdeen, who followed their tactics from their manager step by step and performed it perfectly.
Yeah, they did, John. They did. You can't blame any individual player. You know, Dyson 1-1 with the goalkeeper. Can't blame him. You know, chances can be missed. Keepers can pull off saves, John. Goalkeepers can make mistakes, but don't blame any individual player or management team, John. Part of the management team, Brendan or whoever. It's a team thing, John. It's a team. It's the whole team that lost the cup, and that's just everybody. Should be everybody's opinion.
Aye, well, this is it. I'm reading the comments under that, and he's also going on about Jota being injured. It's not our fault Jota's injured. What would Jota have done in that final? We wouldn't have done anything.
Well, I would like to have seen him there, John, because that would have given us options, wouldn't it? Jota, take off Dyes and put him through the middle or whatever, John. Put Jota on the left, even put Jota on the right, John, because Nicholas Kuhn was doing nothing. It would have given us options, John, but no. Well, Jota was there, Hatate, for whatever, John, doesn't matter. The game's gone. It's all if, buts, and maybes. It really is. Yeah, nobody knows what would have happened if Jota and Hatate was available.
Look, I just don't think Jota's performed at all since he came back to Celtic, to be honest with you. But there you go. That's just my opinion. I mean, other people have got their opinions. You've got yours. I've got mine. Everybody else has got theirs. I just don't think Jota's looked half the player he was when he was last at Celtic. But he has had a tough time, But there you go. Kaiser thinks Casper cost us, and so do another few people. I'm not going to read any more comments from that section because there's a few replies there. But thanks for that anyway, Kaiser. I don't agree with that. I think the whole team could have done more and banged in a few more goals. They could have done wee 1-2s at the edge of the box. Brendan could have changed the tactics. We didn't see any change, Kaiser, I don't think. I just think I think the whole thing on the day was just meant for Aberdeen.
Yeah, it's fair play to their manager, John, because he changed the tactics. He started with a back five, didn't he? So maybe Brendan didn't know how to, break that down. But no, it doesn't matter, John. At the end of the day, their manager changed the tactics. Brendan stuck to his usual, and Aberdeen won the cup. That's the bottom line. Doesn't matter. It's gone. We can be unhappy for a week or two, John, but I'm sure all the Celtic supporters will be bouncing back as soon as the new signings start coming in the door.
This is it. It'll be forgot about soon by the ones that can't forget it. I mean, remember I says to you before the final and the preview, do you think Brendan will start with the same team that beat Aberdeen 5-1 at Pittodrie because they boys put in a shift and they were hungry? And I joked about it, but thinking in the same time in the back of my mind, would it be a bad idea to start with the team that started at Pittodrie because they were outstanding that night?
The team at Pittodrie, John, was flawless. See, that team that started, you had the Rockies, etc. John, all these boys that started. I think Johnny Kenny started as well, didn't he? Got his goal. You had Jamesy started. All these different players that came in and done a magnificent job, John. I think my reply to that was it was too risky because it was such a big game. But looking back on it now, John, it would have been definitely worth the risk.
I think so as well, but look, he's not going to do that. He's got his first team, Brendan. He knows what his first team is, and they failed to deliver the treble, and we're not going to beat them up for that. That's these things happen, We've got a double. I'm happy with that, and so are most Celtic fans. Moving on, we would never sell our club. Says it beggars belief how we lost that match today. And Casper has a lot to answer to, and a number of players were posted missing. So we would never sell a club. Also thinks Casper is at fault there.
Yeah, he was at fault, John. There's no denying he was at fault. But we don't want him sacked. And the others, they would never sell a club for £1, John. Also doesn't want Casper smacked, but he was at fault. Let's be honest. That was a dreadful mistake from Casper. But everybody's allowed a mistake. And the team, he's right as well. She's right as well. Like the commenter, because none of the team turned up at all. Very lackluster. Also, right, I totally agree with the comment, to be honest with you, John.
No, I just think Celtic could have done more than attacking third of the fields under. They never did. They did nothing, to be honest with you. If Celtic would have went 2-0, 3-0 up and Casper made that mistake, you wouldn't be talking about it. I know he did cost us the goal, but everybody makes a mistake. But if you look at the attacking third, they did nothing the entire games under. So can't just pinpoint one guy for losing as the final.
Yeah, but as I said 15 minutes ago, John, Aberdeen didn't look like scoring at all in the game until the blunder by the goalkeeper, John. So yeah, you can definitely blame him for that goal. I'm not blaming him for not winning the treble. Goalkeepers make mistakes, John. Obviously, every goalkeeper makes a mistake. But no, he was at fault for the goal. There's no denying that, John.
Can't deny he was at fault for the goal. That's 100%. I'm just saying, overall, the entire team, the management were responsible for the tactics, and that's what I'm holding accountable. The whole team. I think it's just one of the days. It was meant for Aberdeen. It's simple as that. It was just meant for them that day, and can I say enough? Fair play to them, they done it. So anyway, moving on, because we don't want to be going on about the same kind of comments, and talking about Casper, but he was at fault for the goal. I agree with that.
Yeah, definitely. But no, it's no. What we were talking about earlier was commenters wanting him sacked. That was quite bad. I thought that was pathetic, to be honest with you. You know, a goalkeeper like him, John. But as you say, we'll move on.
I think the wee guy Morris that came on for Aberdeen, he put energy into Aberdeen as well. He was a threat, and he's never been a threat against Celtic. Why did he suddenly become a threat? I really don't know. But moving on anyway. Torquay, 1965 says, "Oh, this is a big comment, and I'm not going to read all this out because I'll end up dizzy by the time I'm finished with reading a book." Let me try anyway. Yesterday was a big disappointment, but we can't let it take away from what we achieved this season. That's the first point. Well, that's it, Torquay. It will never take away from what we achieved this season. We won the league. We're in the Champions League, looking at another potential 40-50 quid. 40-50 quid. 40-50 million quid for that.
Yeah, that's it.
So we're not there yet. Get past the qualifier. We should be okay there. But we can't take it away from that achievement this season's under the double. It's a great achievement.
It's an absolutely outstanding achievement. Another League and Cup double, John. 2 seasons in a row, League and Cup double. Absolutely tremendous. But no, it's total domination in Scotland, John, and that's definitely going to continue, John, because from what I'm hearing, the money that Celtic are going to splash this summer, we're just going to get stronger and stronger. And I think we do need a wee sort of a refresh, if you like, get rid of some dead wood, if you like. I don't like using that phrase as regards to players and human beings, John, dead wood, but you know what I mean? Players that are not going to get a game, players that are taking up a wage. There's going to be a bit of a clear out there. We mentioned some of the names earlier, John. Get them off the wage bill and then get some top quality players in. That's what every Celtic supporter's hoping for this summer, obviously. But no, John, that's, the commenter's right. A totally successful season still. Nevertheless, John, we lost that Scottish Cup, but it's still a very successful season for us.
Sorry, I had you muted there, Xander. I have said it umpteen times on the podcast already. It's a brilliant season for us. I'm delighted with it. I mean, obviously, I'm not delighted losing the cup. It's still hurting a wee bit from that, Xander. Let's be honest. It's not a good feeling at all. But anyway, let's read some more of, what was his name? Torquay's comment. Aberdeen get their medals and applauding them as sportsmanship. But it's also good for them to feel that hurt at losing and will make them want to have that feeling again, basically saying Celtic players applauded Aberdeen and all that stuff. I didn't get that far into the game to see that, but I'll take it Torquay's seen it, so I don't know. But he says Aberdeen came to Hampden to play for penalties and it's the only way they could win. Now it's their right to do that if they want, but it's embarrassing that a club gets to a showpiece major final and parts the bus. What do you think of that?
Now that's some good points there, actually. I'm glad you read that out, because I didn't know for a start that the Celtic players stood and applauded them when they lifted the cup. That is brilliant. Well done to the Celtic players, if indeed that is true, because I didn't get that far into it either, John. That was enough for me. As soon as that penalty was missed, that was enough for me as well, John. The Alistair Johnston penalty. That was it. The TV was off. So well done to the Celtic players for doing that. Sportsmanship at the highest level. Absolutely tremendous, John. And we don't expect anything less for the Celtic guys, do we?
No. Incredible sportsmanship. But he also thinks it's embarrassing that Aberdeen turned up at the Scottish Cup final to play for penalties. Do you think that's embarrassing? A showpiece for the Scottish games, Xander?
Well, if Aberdeen turn up and attack Celtic, John, they get beat 6-7-0. So I don't think maybe it's embarrassing as regards to what neutrals are seeing on their screen, John, right? Possibly, because that may be embarrassing, anti-football, if you like, attack against defence. I think you said earlier as well. But no, for a team like Aberdeen, John, who if they opened up against us, they would get demolished. Let's be honest. So they played the proper game, John. They played the way they had to play to win that cup, and fair play to them, as you've said about 15,000 times. So they done what they had to do, John. It's no nice to see on the eye. I agree with that, definitely. But no, they did what they had to do, John.
That was horrible to watch. I just think Aberdeen, anti-football, it was horrible watching that. But they did what they had to do to win a cup, and it got them the cup, and they're way back up to Aberdeen to celebrate with their fans with their open top bus and all that. Fair play to them. They did their job. I can't say any more than that, Sander. It's how a team like Aberdeen needs to play. It's the same as Celtic. If we were playing in the Champions League final against I don't know, say PSG or something like that, or Barcelona, Real Madrid, Celtic would have to park the bus and try and do a similar thing to what Aberdeen did. So I'll say it again, they did what they had to do, Xander.
Yeah, we did it this season against Atalanta, John. That's just one example where we had to do it. We had to park the bus over in Italy, remember? We came away with a nothing each draw. Exact same as what Aberdeen did at Hampden Saturday, really.
Aye, this is it. Anyway, thanks for your comment, Torquay. That was a belter, mate. A lot of good points in there.
Yeah, thanks, Torquay, because I didn't know Celtic players had applauded the Aberdeen players. So well done to the Celtic lads. Superb.
Aye, was Torquay knowing the Monkeys, the band, the Monkeys?
Couldn't tell you, John. Couldn't tell you who's the Monkeys.
Peter Tork, he was one of the Monkeys.
There you go.
Useless information.
Maybe someone's left a comment. Useless information. No, there you go. Torquay for the Monkeys.
It's definitely no him that left a comment. Peter Tork died about 10 years ago, Xander.
Okay. I knew I was leading to somewhere.
Can't go laughing at the demise of a monkey.
You're trying to make me laugh in my sore mouth. Right, John, what else we got, buddy?
You like the Monkeys? I thought the Monkeys were brilliant.
They were alright. A few famous ones in there and a few hits, shall we say.
Last train to Clarksville.
Hey, hey, we're the Monkeys.
That was the theme tune for the telly show, wasn't it? I used to watch that when I was away in the Monkeys. Hey, hey, we're the Monkeys.
Karaoke night at Celtic River podcast again. The free entertainment people get in this channel, eh?
Aye, well, I'm surprised because I normally only bust into song when I'm happy, but there you go. Thanks for that, Torquay.
That's it. He's got John singing.
Next up was Johnny Blaze, the fire boy.
Yeah, Blaze. Yeah, I've seen Johnny's comment, but just remind us, John, because my memory's terrible. Johnny's been on a few times. Johnny played. In fact, he left a few comments, didn't he?
I don't know. I've not got to them yet, but we'll find it. Anyway, Johnny Blaze says, pass. This Celtic team are built on half a season. This just don't know why I find that funny. I just picture Johnny raging, know what I mean? This Celtic team are built on half a season. If that's not a kick up the arse, need a total rebuild, no plan B. The years of dominance I feel is coming to an end. That mob will get stronger next season. Get the finger out. Nah, I totally disagree with that, Johnny. The years of dominance I feel is coming to an end. That's nonsense. I just don't feel that at all. What about you, Xander?
No, he's upset, isn't he? That's all that is. No, everybody was upset. Everybody had their wee opinions and comments to make on various different things in the build up to this, during the game and after it, John. So no, he's just upset, absolutely. If you're going to be honest, it's nonsense because the years of dominance are definitely not at an end, John. If anything, they're just beginning, to be honest with you. But no, that's a total rebuild as well. No, I don't believe that. I think we've still got a lot of top quality players there, John. Maybe 4 or 5 top quality in the door, and we'll be absolutely fine, I think.
Aye. Well, maybe I think we need a wee bit. Maybe 4 or 5. I'm just trying to count. I was just Johnny's comment. He must have been raging when he wrote that. He said Celtic have just lost the cup, and Johnny's obviously wrote that when he's unhappy, but don't buy into all this nonsense, Johnny, about Sevco with their 49ers and all that nonsense. They're not getting any money off of the 49ers. They're still looking at how to clear their debt. Don't worry about that, Johnny, anyway.
Yeah.
What do you think of that, Xander?
Yeah, that's totally agree with that, John. They've not even got a manager. They've not got a manager, never mind money, John. So that's it's quite. I mean, I've heard stories that they're backing for this Ancelotti guy as well. They're trying to get him over the line because that's who the 49ers want, apparently, and they're back in for him. But, you know, I mean, as it stands, the season's over and they still don't even have a manager, John. So it's just wait till you see the laughter happen over there in the summer, John, to be honest with you.
Yeah, well, the 49ers haven't even signed the deal yet, so look, it's all nonsense. What you're hearing from the media is all absolute nonsense. I'm not saying the 49ers won't be the ones to take control there with the biggest share, hold on them or whatever it is, but it's a lot of nonsense so far until I see proof. And if it does happen, there's a lot of debt to be cleared off, and nothing, and I mean absolutely nothing, is going to change with Sevco in regards to buying better players and all that. That's not going to happen. They'll be the same club they've been for the last 13 years since they were formed, Xander. It'll just be nonsense.
Yeah. Well, you look at the players that they've signed already, John, and the ones that they're looking at. It's all sort of championship players and players for Dundee, and you know, John, it doesn't fill me with trepidation, to be honest with you. But I think if that's what the commenter thinks, then that's what the commenter thinks. But I think he was just angry and annoyed at losing the cup, to be perfectly honest with you.
Well, we all were, and Johnny Blazes wrote that on the day of the cup. So no, I don't agree with that, Johnny. But the next comment, thanks for your comment, by the way, Johnny.
Cheers, Johnny. Cheers, pal.
I don't agree with it, mate. Anyway, next up is a man after my own heart. Jamesy Boy Doran says it's a bitter pill to swallow, but we move on. Exactly, my words, exactly.
That's what we've done. We're now in the middle of the week, John. The cup's long gone. We're now talking about players coming in. We're talking about players that are linked to Celtic. So we've definitely moved on already. But, you know, the only reason why we're talking about it is because we've had to talk about it on the podcast because we've not had a re-say on it yet, John. And now we're talking about it again because the commenters are bringing it up. So, yeah, we move on. Absolutely 100%.
Aye, thanks, Jamesy Boy. Totally agree with
James. Cheers, pal.
And Roseanne was up next, another legend there. And Roseanne says, as someone said, we have no given right to any cup. I think I says that a million times, Roseanne. And she says, at least we still got the double. Be happy, guys, or you'll finish up as angry as that lot.
Yeah, well, that's why they're celebrating Celtic not winning the cup, John. It's total frustration and it's a bit of joy release for them. That's why they're setting off fireworks for another club winning a cup. You know, that's why they're over the top with their celebrating. They're actually celebrating another club winning a cup, John. That is total anger, frustration over the last 15, 20 years of domination. They're getting a wee bit of release from that, John. That's all that is.
Oh, that's exactly what it is. I mean, like I said it earlier, didn't I? Right at the start of the podcast. Their jollies come from Celtic losing games. If that's the only jollies you get as a football fan, good luck to you, because you're never going to be celebrating anything that you're from your own club. All you get is your jollies from Celtic losing a game, and that's pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic. And our jollies as Celtic fans comes from winning trophies.
Yeah,
no,
that's it.
Doesn't come from celebrating other teams winning cups.
No, that's it. How you think about it? They'll maybe get some jollies next season if Queen's Park don't go to Ibrox. You know, maybe that'll be a jolly for them avoiding Queen's Park. You know, so maybe they'll get their jollies for that.
No idea, Xander, but Queen's Park, big hitters. You know what I mean? Tough team, Sevco. Anyway.
Yeah.
Anne Rogers was up next and says, rubbish, the whole team cost us the game.
We went over it, haven't we, John? We went over it. The whole team did cost us the game because they never turned up. That goes without saying. No just Casper, no just Dyson with his miss, no just Callum with his penalty. The whole team and the management cost us the game. That goes without saying. You know, if we turn up, we put Aberdeen to bed early, John, and we're not even talking about this. But yeah, the whole team cost us the game. Totally agree.
Right, that's what I says. The whole team, everything, everybody involved with Celtic cost us the game that day. So maybe know the kit man, but don't know.
I don't know.
Anyway, thanks for your comment, on.
Cheers, pal.
Next up was Paul McCune. Now, this comment would have made a few Celtic people sweat. You know what Paul's comment he always leaves?
I know.
And bear in mind, we've just lost a Scottish Cup final. Celtic fans are all a bit depressed about it. And Paul McCune comes in with, "Hail, hail, the Celtic and the Celtic women are well."
Paul is a legend, isn't he? He really is. One lose or draw, he comes in with the same comment. And it puts a smile on your face, actually, doesn't it? Sometimes he adds a wee bit more, doesn't he, to his comment? Aye. Even the Celtic women are dreadful just now, John. They were absolutely pathetic when they finishing away down in the league, not even in Europe. So, no, that's Paul for you. It's just good to hear from Paul, and he leaves his comments, John, on every single podcast, and we just want that to continue.
Aye, he leaves that comment on every Celtic video you watch.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's. I know all he's doing is helping channels, John. Leaving comments helps channels. So all he's doing is helping channels by leaving the comments. So fair play to him. I think he's just a Celtic diehard. He must have that comment copied and pasted, and then just copy it, didn't you, on every video that you watch?
But he leaves some different comments sometimes as well. He makes me laugh when I do it. Every time I've seen it, it just makes me laugh. Thanks anyway, Paul. Next up was Mark Stevenson. Rodgers out now. Taking team backwards. Goalkeeper was shocking. Game was awful. Celtic look a team without desire, hunger, or have a team leader, manager. Just doesn't have a clue. It's time to go up. Sorry, it's time. His time is up. Go now. Bring back Big Ange.
Well, the only thing I would sort of say to that is the midfield was a concern for me going into the cup final, John. It looked quite bad, the 2 games previous, didn't it? Especially the St Mirren game at Celtic Park with the trophy lift day. Or, Ainley, Engels, Norio, Hatate, John, and Bernardo, the 3 of them, sort of look, McCowan, John, sorry, as well, sort of looked off it, to be honest with you, and I was worried that form was going to be took into the Scottish Cup final, John, and it was taken into the Cup final. Arne Engels, Luke McCowan, when he came on, and Bernardo, John, just weren't at the races at all. The rest of his comments, nonsense, by the way.
Aye, there was no desire and hunger. I agree with that. But the rest of it, teams going backwards. Goalkeeper was shocking. They had one mistake. Mark, come on. Anyway, moving on. He wrote all that in capitals. That's why I'm saying it like I'm talking in capitals.
Yeah.
But anyway, thanks for your comment, mate. Yeah,
cheers for the comment, buddy. I know everybody was a bit angry and upset, but I'm sure he's calmed down now, John.
I don't think so. Maybe punching holes in the walls, Xander, we don't know.
Yeah, well, that's it. It's just a game of football, folks, remember, that's all it is.
Anyway, Gerard Nelson was up next. He'd be happy if Rodgers left. Your tactics are rubbish and boring. End of. On the day, I think the tactics were a bit boring. I agree with that. 100%, Gerard. I totally agree with that. But happy if he left? No, he'll get it together for next season, I think, Gerard.
Well, these comments been put onto videos before the cup final, John, when we've got the chance to win the treble. Were these comments anywhere near? Because of one game, you lose one game. It doesn't make the manager any worse or any better than what he already is, John. He's still the same manager. Because you lose a game doesn't mean to say you're a dreadful manager. It's just came off the back of lifting the league trophy, and we've already got the cup in the bag, John. That's... I think there's just a lot of anger out there after the Scottish Cup final, to be honest with you.
Aye, well, that's it. Anyway, I'm not going to spend much more time on that. Moving on to the next comment. Verlovic, 1969. The manager cost us another one's under.
Yeah, there was a few blaming the manager. And it wasn't totally blameless, John. As you say, his tactics wasn't great. He didn't know how to deal with Aberdeen's changing formation, John. He just stuck to the same old formation there. So I agree with that. But, sack him and all the rest of it. No. Have your moments, but don't ask for a manager that's winning trophy after trophy, John, at Celtic. Don't ask for his head. Honestly, the guy's doing a brilliant job at Celtic, and Celtic will just get stronger and stronger under Brendan Rodgers.
To say the manager cost us alone is wrong. I think the whole team cost us. I just don't think. I think Brendan could have. I said it earlier. Brendan could have switched it up a bit, invited Aberdeen on and sucker punched them or whatever. But he never did that. But he's obviously dished out tactics to the team. Aberdeen were wise to it. they had it in their back pocket, Aberdeen. But I'm not going to blame the manager alone, no. Finishing the comments. Thanks for your comment, by the way.
Just about.
Roseanne, to finish up the comments. Don't be angry, guys. We move on. After all, we are only lending the cup out for a year. And remember, we are still champions. Calm down. This rotten world is bad enough. It could have been worse. Sefco could have got the cup. Well, that's true. Let's congratulate Aberdeen. We are the best in Scotland. Talking about Celtic.
Yeah, good way to end it, actually, because what a difference in opinions, John. People wanting managers, players sacked to we're still the best team in Scotland. Domination, winning trophy after trophy. Great comment from Roseanne there. Everybody's entitled to their opinion, John, but I think just some people had to take a wee step back, take a wee breather, and look at the bigger picture, John. But that's what we said at the very start of this podcast.
Aye, that's it. Anyway, that's it. Sander, for the comments, I agree with everything Roseanne says there as well. Definitely, I was angry on the day, but I'm not angry now. And we are still champions, like she says. It could have been Sefco that won the cup. But would you have been out celebrating if it was Sefco getting beat in the final? Would you have been out with a box of coloured bangs under, letting off the old fireworks?
Don't get me wrong, John. I would have been happy if they were lost a cup, obviously. But no to the extent that they actually celebrated. That was absolutely pathetic. But no, that's just them for you, John. That's what they do. That's their jollies, as you said earlier on, John. That's what it is. It is what it is. Sorry, John. That's just Rangers Football Club for you. That a team with absolutely no morals, John. Absolutely, no success, no trophies, John. That's just them as a club, I suppose. But no, John, we're not here to talk about them. We're here to talk about the famous Glasgow Celtic League and Cup double winners, John, into the Champions League as well, if we get by the qualifiers with that extra £50 million in the bank. Just brilliant being a Celtic supporter still, albeit we lost the Scottish Cup final, John. It's just tremendous to be a Celtic supporter, and we're just hoping this domination in Scotland continues, which I'm sure it will.
Absolutely. I'm convinced it will. I don't think anything will stop Celtic next season either. I think this season we've had a good season. Could have been better. It could have been a treble, but we'll take the double. We move on to next season, Xander. Hope for better signings. Hope for better in the Champions League. We'll look forward to that.
Yeah. Okay, John, well said. Yep, well put. Just wasn't to be, folks. Wasn't to be. Still a League and Cup double, I've said a few times. That's in the bag. That's in the history books. Celtic, brilliant football club, very successful. We look forward to the summer. We look forward to the new signings coming in as well, folks. So we'll be back next week for an updated podcast, just a wee update on anything that's happened at Celtic. If there's any breaking news, any new signings, anything like that, we'll have a bulletin podcast as well. So thank you, John, for coming on. That's appreciated. Went through quite a lot there. And we'll catch you next week, John.
We'll see you soon, Xander. Hail, hail, mate.
Hail, hail, John. Catch you later, buddy.